Guys, we have a humongous day in store for us today.
So there's a new HasLab for us to talk about, and we all know what that means. It means it's time to... But in all seriousness, when the so-called leaders of our community accuse other people of being toxic, what that really means is just anyone who has a differing opinion from them. But we're all allowed to voice our opinions on whether we think a new toy offering, whether, you know, the price is there, whether the offering's, you know, impressive or underwhelming. And overall, I actually think that this new Giant Man figure, this is a good looking figure. It's a good offering. I do think it might be a little bit overpriced, but let's get into the details. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Stay tuned.
Come with me, toy fans.
Hey toy fans, my name is Tony and welcome back to the Analog Toys YouTube channel. Now the latest HasLab offering is part of the Marvel Legends Avengers 60th Anniversary series. And the Marvel Legends team are offering us what we all kind of suspected we were going to get, and that's a Giant Man. I think the only question we really had was how tall was this guy going to be? And he tops out at 24 inches in height. So just a fraction shorter than the Sentinel HasLab from a few years back, and several inches shorter than Galactus. And the Marvel Legends team are really bigging up the number of articulation points that this figure comes with. 91 points of articulation, I think it is. But factor into that 29 points of articulation are in each hand. So more than half of the articulation points of this whole figure are in the two hands. Each knuckle of the finger, the thumb, all of that kind of thing.
2 for the pink, 1 for the stink, baby.
Beyond that though, the articulation of the figure is not too dissimilar to a standard Marvel Legend, although we do have toe articulation, which obviously doesn't come with every Marvel Legend figure. And the price for this item is $200 US, making it one of the lowest priced HasLabs to ever come out of the company of any brand. And I think they learned from their mistakes with the Engine of Vengeance, and they're really playing it safe with this one. This is an absolute layup. However, I still think this item is a little bit overpriced, but you know, whether I want to argue it should be 150, 170, it doesn't really matter. It's in the ballpark of being affordable. The big question I have is, do you honestly think that this should be a crowdfund? When Hasbro can put out Titan scale Transformers that are a similar height and a almost identical price range, and they go straight to retail, there is no excuse for making this a crowdfund and asking you, the customer, to stump up your money and wait over 12 months to receive your item. When the HasLab crowdfunding model was originally pitched to us, the mission statement was to deliver dream projects that would not be available without a crowdfund. And this was very true of the early HasLabs like Unicron and the Sail Barge. But there is no way in hell you can try and convince me that this 24-inch Giant Man, this Marvel Legends figure, wouldn't sell at retail. I'm well aware that Transformers is a hugely popular brand for Hasbro, but if they can sell Titan scale Transformers at retail at the same price point, then you can definitely sell this Marvel Legend at retail. You definitely don't need to ask your customers to pay the money up front. People should just be able to walk into a store, pick it up off the shelf, pay for it and take it home there and then. As with every HasLab crowdfunding project that's gone before, Giant Man also comes with a couple of unlocks. But again, the Marvel Legends team is really playing things safe here. There are only 2 unlocks available, so we need 10,000 backers to unlock the base offering, 12,000 backers to unlock the first alternate head, and only 14,000 to unlock the second alternate head. Whereas typically a lot of the unlock tiers with previous HasLabs have come more in like 3,000 backer ranges rather than 2,000 backer ranges. And it's also important to note that the unlock tiers for this item, as I said, they're alternate heads. They are not additional action figures, which has previously been the case with other Marvel Legends HasLabs. And this was addressed by the Marvel Legends team on their fan stream.
You'll notice here we specifically did not build in any additional 6-inch figures. One was a learning from the previous campaign, the Engine of Vengeance, where I think people got really excited about some of the figures as tiers, but you know, they were gated behind these unlocks of a high ticket HasLab purchase.
And there is definitely some merit to this. I mean, I don't think that highly desirable action figures should be locked away behind a high ticket item like a HasLab Giant Man or Engine of Vengeance or whatever it is. But the unlocks included with this Giant Man HasLab, they are absolute nothing burgers. Now I'm sure the Marvel Legends team are hoping that these heads will inspire some army building, but realistically I think there will be some people who want to army build this Giant Man, but they are going to be in the minority. The vast majority of people who are going to back this project, they just want a Giant Man to fill out their collection of Avengers action figures. And that means with every figure being released coming with 3 heads, 2 of these heads are always going to be just plastic wastage. And I find that kind of funny coming from a company that's always preaching about how it cares about the environment. I mean, that's why they introduced plastic-free packaging, so they could start selling us bananas in solid boxes. So if the Marvel Legends team didn't want the unlocked tiers to be additional action figures that people might get a little bit frustrated that they couldn't get their hands on, I still think they could have done a little bit better than a couple of alternate heads. Considering that we've never had this particular style of Ant-Man in a 6-inch scale in the modern era, I think the first unlocked tier at perhaps 13,000 backers should have been a 6-inch scaled version of this particular Ant-Man in this particular costume. That way backers of this crowdfund are getting really something worthwhile for that unlocked tier without introducing a character that people don't already have in their collections. Most die-hard Marvel Legends collectors already have an Ant-Man, they just don't have this particular version. And what would have been absolutely amazing for a second unlocked tier would have been a solid translucent piece of plastic to simulate his transformation effect, where you could actually display this figure on your shelf with the 6-inch version, the 24-inch version, and then a translucent piece to go between the two to make it look like he's morphing into that giant size like we used to see in the comic books and as we've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Holy shit!
I've made no secret of the fact that I thought the Engine of Vengeance campaign was just ridiculously overpriced for an item that actually a lot of people weren't even really that into. This is a much safer bet for Hasbro, and while I do think it's a little overpriced, it's not massively overpriced, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very happy to add this figure to their collection. And the crowdfunding campaign is off to a pretty decent start, and I'm almost positive that this is not only going to get funded, but it's going to unlock both of its tiers. But I want to know what you think about this particular HasLab. Do you like the offering? Are you happy with the price? Are you happy with the unlocks? Would you have preferred different unlocks? What do you suggest those unlocks should be? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.